Yo, what's up? Let the morning sadness sink in. I'm just kidding. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? Apologize that we got started a little bit later today. You see, my lights aren't popping today or anything like that, and that's just solely because I haven't had that opportunity to really just like get fully started this morning. Got a late start. I literally woke up or got up. It was like 9:50, and I was just like, "Oh snap!" But yeah, but we're here. Might took like 4 minutes for us to actually get fully set up, but we're here. It's okay. We're going to. As today we kind of got an open topic going on. Nothing particularly fully planned out. Just like I said, due to the fact that I wasn't fully ready this morning, but it's okay because there's so much stuff going on every single day that we could literally just walk in any direction and find something. But yeah, so I hope everybody's Monday is awesome. I hope everybody's weekend was good. Nobody had a fucked up weekend. But yeah. So I guess just to start things out this morning, we can go ahead and I don't know. I don't even have anything on my computer open. I don't have anything up. Nothing, no pages, no. None of that. So give me a second to get like something pulled up and we can get rolling. Yeah, just exit for right now. But yeah, yeah, figures this mouse just is stupid. Is this mouse still connected? Do I still have this one over here at least? No. Mouse is just. Oh, there it is. Bet. That's lit. Let's go. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man, the Chevys. I haven't even had a cup of coffee this morning. I apologize, you guys. What is it about today that got me so delayed? I don't know. No, not completely like that, but oh, that's why. I see. Oh, don't need the .com twice. What is this? That's not it. It's that's it. That looks so much bettered. Bettered. Yes, bettered. Oh, right. Yep, that's me, alright. That's me. Everything's gotta, like, check to make sure you are you nowadays. It's funny how electronics, or not even electronics, but, social media and all that stuff is so important that they have to, like, triple, quadruple check, make sure you are you logging into something, because totally, like, not even just your day, but mess up a lot of things going on in your life if somebody were to get into your social media. Like, low key, they could mess up your job. Cause they, I said nowadays jobs look at, like, your social media and stuff like that, which is kind of sad. And I feel like what you post on social media should remain private, but I guess every company or whatever has to uphold a certain stature or level of professionalism. And if you're not being professional online and they're advertising online, then I can understand where, like a company would like, oh, well, you're not representing the company. And I'm sorry. I realize that I have these moments kind of like on Jimmy Neutron where he's like, brain blast. And it's like a whirlwind or a tornado or whatever, over stimulated. Basically, like when Jimmy Neutron has a brain blast, it's just like a burst of thoughts all at one time. And what kind of went through my mind in a quick sense was, and I bring this up because it's something that came up this weekend or whatever, just a little bit, or I always talk about it, just the fact that, as black people nowadays, we're now becoming more openly, or it's become more openly acceptable for us to wear our natural hair or to just express our natural hairstyles or, our culture in a sense, like all the things that are actually things that are us that other cultures can't just manipulate or copy in a sense. And I mean the essence of what makes black people and like your skin, your hair, your everything. And to that point, and what I was just talking about, seems like now coming into the new electronic era or age where everything is, solely electronic. Like with COVID, there's almost in the sense of way where they're trying to almost do away with the physical paper dollar just because people don't want to touch something that somebody else has touched, due to COVID and all that type of stuff. But so with that and going into this new electronic age, it's funny because the things that before weren't openly acceptable for you to do or wear at work are becoming a little bit more openly acceptable. I know, like even in school and stuff like that. At my school, we weren't allowed to wear hats at school, and they said that was a distraction. Just like you couldn't dye your hair, funky, unnatural colors and things of that nature. You couldn't wear certain type of t-shirts just because it might be distracting or might have some vulgar statements on it, which I can definitely understand. And I'm not saying that that's not a plausible point that they have and or anything, but to the point of what I'm saying, those were considered distractions and stuff like that, which translates into the workforce and reasons why they don't want you to just come to work looking like a clown. Not saying that, because I made the point of the things that they didn't let us do as far as like black culture, and especially in schools, and it's becoming more openly or publicly brought to people's knowledge that they're doing it in schools too, with the black culture and hair and stuff like that. So yeah, those things are now making a turnaround. But like I was saying about the job and how they want you to present yourself online, now is the new place where they are basically saying that this is where we're going to police on how you can look or present yourself as far as the public views you and viewing you as an employee at our company. Excuse me, that was I don't mean to keep sniffing and stuff in the mic. That's gross. But yeah, so it's funny how actually like your online identity plays a very huge part in um your life, nowadays. A lot of people don't realize it and stuff like that. Like, you honestly could probably be whoever you wanted to be offline, just because, jobs and people can't just publicly see that, other than, like, just committing crimes, obviously. But, to that extent of, your record and things like that. But as far as the job is concerned, you could almost pretty much be whoever you wanted to outside of online, and as long as you um, keep your Facebooks and stuff like that squeaky clean, and then you have at least a decent LinkedIn with majority of the jobs you've had on there, you can still present yourself in a positive way as far as your job is concerned. That's something that a lot of people might not realize right now. That's a huge thing, but it is definitely living out here in LA. That's something they definitely look at, and it's kind of sad. And that's why a lot of you, or quite a few people in my age group, you've noticed that some of us don't have our actual name on our Facebooks, and that's because we don't want our jobs, or the people, employees and employers and people like that, looking you up and finding you and trying to pry into your personal life. So that's trying to keep a personal and business life separate type of thing. And I don't know if everybody has caught wind to that, or why it is that people are doing that, or why you see that online nowadays, where it's like I said, you might have a friend, his name is John Smith, but on Facebook his name is Johnny Smithinson or something like that, or something, kind of clever to his actual name and stuff like that. But that's not the actual his actual name, and just that's due to how he wants to basically make sure he's portrayed online as far as like a business goes. And it's quite interesting to think how that is translated into from one thing to another, like something that we actually like painted on people, like, oh my gosh, why are you coming to work this way, or why are you coming to school like this, like who told you it was okay to do this, and so on. And a lot of times people are more publicly and openly accepting of things, but then they have an opinion online about it, and then they'll go to online and they'll talk about somebody, or they'll find them online and berate them online, but see them on a daily basis every day and don't say anything, and don't. That's why it's funny how we have the term keep that same energy when you see me. And that solely comes from, like I said, people portraying themselves online one way and being another way in person. And I mean, that goes in lots of different directions, I guess you could actually say, as far as I'm not going to explain it because I'm going to get a little confused and off track. But yeah, just people portraying themselves differently online, or people trying to find people online to talk down on them on what they do, and actual in reality, and because they don't have the balls or chutzpah to address them in reality, in real life. They do it online, and those people are trolls ultimately. But yeah, so so to the original point of what I was saying, or what spawned this whole little conversation about how it's becoming important for you to keep your online identity kind of squeaky clean. And that's translated from how people have like told you to come to work and stuff like that. Granted, the basis are still there. Like, you still need to come to work clean and come to work ready to work and things of that nature. Those things shouldn't change. Those should be drive things, not things that are actually like stopping you from getting a job, or stopping you from showing some sort of initiative. But yeah, it's become now more socially acceptable for people to have their natural hairstyles and their natural look, though, as far as the workforce goes. Not having to dress yourself up like the person next to you, or just dress yourself up to make yourself seem less, as some people would say, ethnic. But yeah, so it's good to see those changes being made, but sometimes for some people they're not made fast enough, and that's how we ultimately get to where we've been at in 2020, and well, where we've been at since before 2020, but where we have gotten to as far as the social media being able to provide a platform for people to address situations like racism and the way that black people in general are being treated by just in general, and not just black people but people of other races as well, because these things don't just go as far as one particular race and things like that, but to the point of the Black Lives Matter movement and things of that is just to bring forth the knowledge and the facts of what has been going on to black people in this country since the beginning. And it's not that it hasn't been going on this whole time, and it's not just like these things are going to be just accepted because it's been going on for so long. And like I said, like this with the new electronic age and things changing and certain things becoming more socially acceptable, and then certain things that people have always had a problem with, now we're actually getting to a point where we're addressing these things that people have always felt like they've had a problem with, but we're raising the question, why do you have a problem with this when this is just like this thing? And I have that conversation with people all the time about how this is very similar to this, but just because in your life this has been socially acceptable or this has been acceptable does not mean that the thing that's over here that's you find unacceptable is actually unacceptable. It's just your perspective of, how you're raised to see things, or, just everything in general. But yeah, it's like those things all come full circle, and we got to do better as people, and try and educate people who obviously are not at the same level as you. I'm not saying anybody's stupid or anything like that, but the people who just have lacked the knowledge. Like, it's not that they don't seek it, it's just that they have not had the proper teachers or the proper information put before them. Like I said, somebody can't read a book that they've never seen. Well, I've never said that, but I'm saying it today. You can't read a book that you've never seen. So, I mean, the information can be there, but if it's not at your grasp or at their grasp, then, I mean, you can't blame them for being completely ignorant. And that's something that a lot of people might not agree with or understand, that, in some people's lane or in some people's form of travel, however they're getting to where they're going, they might not come across some of the things that you or me might come across, and they just don't see them that way for the simple fact that they've never come across it. Like I said, I can't go to a Waffle House out here off the side of the road if there's no Waffle House off the side of the road, And it's just, like I've said once before, the absence of evidence does not mean that the evidence is absent. So just because you haven't seen something, or just because you wasn't there or something like that, does not mean that it did not happen. I mean, if you have the evidence that somebody died, but you don't know how they died, doesn't mean that one of the people standing in this room didn't kill this person. But it also doesn't mean that one of the people that are standing in this room did kill this person. So, like I said, the question of a question is a question. that ultimately just saying that is makes everything so confusing when you put it into that equation. And I hate one thing I do not like about pointing out how things come back full circle is a lot of times some people will take that simple fact and not anything else that's said within it, but just knowing the fact that it's gonna come back full circle, that anything that you say, they try to use it as a contradiction of what you're saying. And yes, I mean, in a way, yes, you could use that information and apply it to devalidate whatever it is that's said. Because, like I said, everything comes around full circle, and there's no, at that point, it would be no like full on proof to show that this one thing is the one right thing, I guess, to say, to keep this as simple as possible. And one of the greatest and simplest explanations that I could give or just use to explain this is the question of which one came first, the chicken or the egg? Just for the simple fact that these are two things that go in a full circle. You have to have the chicken to lay the egg, in which the chick is hatched and grows up to be a chicken, in which lays another egg. So, like I said, it's a full circle, and in any instance or situation, you can easily say that the thing that is the problem. And I'm going to pause after saying that just for a second, just so that can kind of sink in. Because if you think about it like this, like if there was no such thing as water, or, if there was no such thing as water, then, I mean, obviously, like, there would not be such thing as thirst, and you wouldn't thirst for something that doesn't exist. Like I said, like, it's just a hypothetical situation. Of course, like, hypothetically speaking, and people will think, like, oh, well, water does exist, so, we are thirsty. So, like I said, the thought of a full circle, like I said, the thought of saying, well, if water didn't exist, then you wouldn't be thirsty. But the fact that water exists and you are thirsty makes you think, well, if water didn't exist, would I still be thirsty? Or would I not be thirsty? Because, like I said, there's no base to what thirst is. Like I said, like, it's the need for moisture or liquids within yourself. Like I said, like, your body needs liquids to, move or flow properly, because then you'll dry out and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into the medical and technical reasons of why you need to hydrate your body, but for the simple point of, like I said, things come around full circle. That might not be the best example, and some people might argue that was not a good example. And you could poke holes in that example or take the example and turn it around any which way you want to. But regardless, that conversation is still going to come back around full circle to the same exact point, in which is water or isn't water the reason why you're thirsty. And like I said, just like anything else, you can use those type of things within a conversation to poke holes within something. And it's ultimately leads to, like I've been talking about, that level of miscommunication or just the brokenness in the English language. Or, I mean, at this point, it's really not brokenness in English language, because that's like communicating on the highest form. If you can understand how something comes back around full circle, because then you have a full-on grasp of where it's going right and going wrong. And by saying that, there is no, every solution is the problem. And I literally just said that in a different way. I can't remember exactly the way I just said it, but I guess to to bring another example, but looking at it from the other end of the spectrum, as far as, like I said, before I was basically just using water and saying water is the reason you're thirsty. In this sense, I'm saying that there is a problem, but the solution to the problem is the problem. So with that being said, like I said, this is the other end of the spectrum, whereas, because instead of saying that water is in this case, if I use the same this equation in the water situation, it would be saying that water is the problem, and the fact that water exists is the reason you're thirsty. But before, I was saying the reason you're thirsty, which was the problem before, is the reason that water exists, because you're thirsty, because you need to hydrate, and so on and so forth, which means that water is the solution and thirst is the problem. Whereas if you look at it in reverse, like I said, water is the problem and thirst is the solution. But when you think of an equation backwards like that, you're like, well, why would water be the problem? Well, the fact that water exists, pure existence, is what makes you thirsty. So that's where you look at it like that. And I'm going to use another example in the sense, because when you're looking at something from a problem to a solution, to the solution being the problem, is a little bit easier to put it in a perspective of a lot of worldly things. And I'm going to use a very, very far off extreme, in a sense, with this, and use the platform OnlyFans. Note, OnlyFans was originally created for artists who are trying to, live stream, sell, and just give themselves a place to, showcase their art. Note, so somebody creates that. Somebody then uses it for another form of art, if you will. And now it has become almost the problem for some people, or even in the art community, a problem as far as art is being perceived. People solely love, like I said, they say sex sells, and ultimately it does. And in this case, it sells more than any other form of art. And with that, some people would say that, sex is the problem. And like I said, it's very complicated almost to put it into the equation that I just was using, saying like just basically painting one thing as a problem, one thing as a solution. I guess you can say, like, because it's so many different situations in which these things are the variables, I guess you can say. So this is where I feel like I'm gonna start losing a lot of people, but I'm gonna try and articulate this as best as possible, because this is kind of how I see a lot of things, and this is how a lot of things are calculated within my mind. So it's almost as like algebra. So with algebra, you're basically calculating how things are going to change. So with that being said, you take the problem over the solution, and vice versa, because these are two different variables in the case of making a change, like in an algebraic equation. Basically, you're just trying to calculate for a slope in some cases. So like I said, the amount of change. So if you have a problem, you take your problem, which would be the fact that there's not a platform or an easy way to sell your art, right? That's the problem. So you create a solution. The solution in that case was creating OnlyFans. So now at that point, like I said, these are your two variables, and you put those two things in, and you try to calculate how this solution is going to progress your problem in a positive way over time. Just like an algebraic equation, like I said, you're trying to calculate for the slope. You're trying to calculate for a positive thing. Like I said, so in life, you're always trying to calculate for a positive, which is the thing that I feel like a lot of people, I might start losing people. If I draw this out and I do my 2 camera perspective, I might be able to explain it a little better, but I'm trying to, like I said, articulate as best as possible. So with that, and you take those 2 things, like I said, if selling your art is the problem and the solution is OnlyFans, and like I said, you're just trying to calculate for the time in which it's going to take to get a positive progression. Note, now this is where, like I said, like algebra, it's going to change because you're trying to calculate for change, but there's going to be new variables which alter your calculations. So now, when you place in a new variable or a new situation per se, so now you take out selling your art because you have come up with a solution for selling your art. Now your solution was creating OnlyFans. Now the fact that OnlyFans has been morphed into something that it wasn't originally intended for, it has become the problem. So OnlyFans is the problem. Of course, your original solution was selling your art. So that now becomes the solution. And you find a way to market your art to get it to go in a positive way. Like I said, so now it just takes the 2 things and we're switching them around in a sense. Because now, again, you found a solution, a viable solution, but now your solution has become an issue or it has become a problem. It's not doing exactly what you intended for it to do. And you're trying to alter that to make it, viable, or I believe that's the word I'm looking for, viable or feasible option for you to use to sell your art. And it's like I said, ultimately I was just trying to point out how things are their own problem in a sense. Before it was the problem, it was the solution. So now that it has become the solution and people have made a positive progression from it, there is a dilution in the actual thing it was intended for, the primary focus of where it was supposed to be marketing, or who and what it was supposed to be marketing a particular type of art, or if you will. It really makes me laugh on the inside to think of people's OnlyFans pages as art, but for what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say censored, but for conversation's sake and just the flow of things and not keeping it at a G-rated level or whatever. Like I said, that's the best way to explain it or to describe it. And it's very interesting to think, or when you start to think about things on that level, you're trying to really figure out what it is that you could do, or as anybody, like how could we positively make a change from this, or just figure out a way of not making the solution a problem, which I mean is really it's really impossible, just because it doesn't matter what it is or what you try to it doesn't matter what it is, everything falls into this category, not even category, but falls into this equation. This is just how life kind of works, and it sucks that it's a loop. I need to figure out a way, or if somebody could kind of make a little bit more sense, because I know I mean, to me, it makes tons of sense. But there is, like I said, I feel like there's a full on correlation in actual math and the way that life is, you know, calculated in a sense. Just for the fact of, like I said, things go in a full circle. We have the numbers to calculate for a circle, and like I said, but you just have to figure out how those things are correlated, or flow with one another in a sense, to think about how things actually may work in a more calculated sense, because it's kind of hard to think that things are just coincidence. Some of the time, like I said, there's other, like when I talk about energy and stuff like that, those things have a I guess whenever in school they've described energy and like positive and negative energies in a sense. And like I said, if everybody has an energy count, and to be completely complacent would to be at a zero energy count, I guess. It's not that you're got an over amount of energy to exert out to the world. It's just that you have a perfectly reasonable amount of energy to get done what you need to get done and keep it pushing. You're not any more or any less. And but yeah, to that point, like I said, everybody should have an energy count ultimately, and then you could truthfully see where it is that a person is at or whatever. And there's a lot of things like I'm kind of losing my thought right this second on the whole energy count and exactly where I was coming from, but if we looked at things kind of like that, or if people actually like thought about it like that, on like, okay, well, this is gonna be 3 positive, 2 positive, then I feel like people would get more on a technical sense of what is nice and what isn't nice anymore. Because something simple like chivalry, like opening a door for somebody, could easily be looked at as a negative thing, just for the simple fact of somebody trying to do something small and something nice to keep their positive energy going, and justifying saying that they're a positive person or whatever because they have such a positive energy flow. But the energy flow in which they give out could be perceived in a negative way, which is a whole other thing and a whole other topic on what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get back to the original thing that I just said right before I was talking about the positive and negative energy, energy count and stuff like that. Because I was saying basically something about, how the correlation of math and reality or life, it plays a huge part in how, it's weird to say that things are coincidence. And oh yes, I remember now, it's weird to say things are coincidence, and with the fact that there is an energy flow within people and the world. So like I said, with that energy flow, if you're doing your positive and somebody is having a negative day, and you can cancel that out. Dang, I keep losing the thought as soon as I get to the point of the positive and negative energy flow or whatever. But let me backtrack real quick because I was saying about how everything is oh yes, nothing could be coincidence, because, or it's weird to say that something could be a coincidence, because if I'm doing my part over here with putting out positive energy and taking on people's negative energy and so on and so forth, then the way that life goes, or the way that life steers you into different directions unintentionally. It has to be the flow of energy or the lack of energy flow in an area. Because I feel like, personally, as a person, I can only exist in a negative energy space for so long before my emotions or just my intuition or whatever tells me to move on or to keep moving towards something more positive, I guess you could say. And like I said, with that being said, like I said, it would be kind of weird to say that things are coincidence and things aren't more, I guess, just the universe, or like the energy flow is more calculated than you realize. That, like I said, after, I feel like with the way a person is raised and stuff like that, I've talked about energy flows and saying if someone's never experienced something super bad, they can never fully experience something that's super duper good, or they won't realize how good something is. And like I said, at that point, it would make a lot of sense to count, to be able to put a number on an energy count in a sense, or just come up with a value in which that amount of energy would equate to. So saying, like I said, if you go on vacation and you receive 20 positive energy points or whatever. And like I said, when you come home from vacation, there's going to be, like, you as a positively charged person, the universe is going to send you in a path in which there's going to be people who need that energy that you have just gathered. And like I said, on a normal basis, you might gather, 3 more energy than anybody else around you, and that's more energy for you to put out. Like I said, even if you're, and to think to be at a complete zero is to just be complacent. I would think that a lot of us honestly live at a negative energy rating, and there's a lot of things that probably give us positive charges and get us to a 1, or like a 0, or sometimes even like a positive 3, but there's a lot more of negative energy that flows than positive energy. And it's sad to say that, but like, to the point of, like I said, you wouldn't know how good things could be if you didn't know how bad things were. And like I said, the level, I guess, to the energy spectrum, the level of positive energy that you could probably experience in just thinking about it in a worldly standpoint, if there really was some type of numerical energy value or whatever, like the amount of, or how it feels, I guess, the amount of negative energy, or how negative energy feels, like it has a 2 times multiplier on it than positive energy. And I would only say it because the power of positive energy is so much more powerful than negative energy, which is crazy, because to think that, like I said, that, because that's where numerically things would not make sense. Just for the simple fact of saying, that's just like saying, I guess, okay, for better explanation's sake and just simple picturing sake, that's like saying I have two trucks. I have a truck. It's so simple to explain, but when I think about it, I see all the holes that can be painted. But basically saying, like, I have 2 trucks is half as powerful as this 1 truck that I have. But the fact that I have 2 trucks makes it seem like there's a lot more over here. It looks like more. And that's solely what it is. Because sadness is just like a visual, it's like a visual thing. Like if I saw, it's like for little kids who see you have 100 pennies versus having $1. They're like, oh my gosh, you have all these pennies though. They're like, but that penny is like the same as this $1. You just don't have to carry all of those pennies in your pocket. And think about how much those pennies weigh you down. And that right there is the best, I would say the best explanation of how negative energy and positive energy feels on a physical standpoint. Negative energy is like having 100 pennies versus having a $1 bill in your pocket. Granted, you have the same amount of money in your pocket, just one weighs you down more, and that's that negative energy. Negative energy is almost the equivalent to like carrying pennies in the amount of money you carry in your wallet. There's people who carry thousands and thousands of dollars, but if you're carrying thousands and thousands of dollars in pennies, that's gonna weigh you down. That's gonna hold you back. You're not gonna be able to get down here as fast. And sometimes people have the drive to carry all of those pennies and keep pushing, and it makes them stronger. Like, I mean, in this explanation's sake, like I said, in this explanation, physically, that person would literally become stronger. They could be able to carry more stuff. They could be able to do more stuff. It'd be so much more productive for that person. And like I said, it's just crazy to think about energy and how energy flows and stuff like that. To me, when I break it down like this and I think about it like this, it kind of helps me understand and just truthfully just understand situations that I can't place myself in, or just different things that are going on with different people and the way that I go about it. And some people say that I might not make a decision, or do anything about a situation. And a lot of times that's because I'm calculating out where this energy is coming from and where it's going and what it is doing overall. And like I said, like I don't have the energy to make the situation positive. And as a young child, with the pure bliss of ignorance, that's how and it's funny that they can do so much and give off so much positive energy just for being or living in that bliss of ignorance, because they have so much more positive energy and they can give it to people just the same as animals do in a sense. And but yeah, like I said, to that point, there's a lot that can be done. But I ultimately like everything that's been said today. I want to cut it just a little short, just to honestly, I'm just gonna cut it short, just to let it be, let what was said kind of marinate with people. I don't want to lose my point too much. I do feel myself actually losing where it was that I was at right now with the whole energy and stuff like that, and just how kids can provide, or children with the bliss of ignorance can provide so much positive energy to uplift us and stuff. And it's crazy. But yeah, I hope everybody has had a good day or is having a good day. We can ultimately need to do what we can to uplift the people around us, and just understand exactly what it is that's going on, or what it is that we need to be doing. As soon as I can end the show. Alright, well, it's been real. It's been fun. Some would say it's been